Hey guys, it's Vampire Mike from Sega CD Universe. So I wanted to do a quick video just talking about something I don't normally talk about on this channel, and that's wrestling. I know it's silly and it's fake and it's scripted, I get it. As a teenager, I was in a backyard wrestling federation. We made it into the newspaper very briefly when they were talking about like how dangerous it was, whatever. I got out of it sort of. And then they just took it further. Like all my friends who had broken off of our group went to this other guy's house, and he had a professional ring in his yard that he bought. I guess he thought he was really going places with it. But they would do really over-the-top stuff, like hit each other with light bulbs and set shit on fire and jump off the roof of the house. And they eventually got in trouble for it, and I think they took the ring down, and the guy went on to do like indie wrestling, and then I think that was really the end of his wrestling career. So, and I haven't heard or seen him since. I kind of stopped watching it probably around like 16, 17 years old, I would say. And, you know, I would watch it in spurts, or if like a friend had it on or something. I really didn't watch during the Attitude Era with WWE or WWF at the time. I was a big WCW guy, even though a lot of it was very cheesy, especially near the end in like the 2000s with like that country group that would sing Rap is Crap and stuff like that, like all that goofiness. Like, there's a point for me in movies and in TV where goofiness is funny, but when you take it too far it becomes cringy, but except at that point cringe wasn't really used as prevalent today as it is. My favorite was always ECW, hands down, still is. My dad, and I think I told you guys this, used to record for me with the VCR, because VHS tapes were prevalent. He used to record for me the ECW shows that were on at like 3 in the morning. He would put the tape in and set it with a timer, and it would record, and I'd watch it that weekend or the next day, and it was just awesome. My friend Nicky used to have all like the bootleg tapes, and like he'd order them out of like magazines and catalogs, and he'd be like, look at this, look at that, and I think he thought some of it was real, because he'd be like, so-and-so came back and they got into a fight with it, and he'd like get really excited about it. Like, I thought it was cool, and I love ECW. I think the wrestling was great. I think the hardcore stuff with the weapons was great. It wasn't, sometimes like people can take it too far to where it's not wrestling any longer. There's nothing really more than people sitting there hitting each other with something, like a trash can lid, and then that's it. Like, I don't like that. I like when there's some wrestling involved. Even New Jack, who, now that I watch him, I realize he didn't have a ton of talent in terms of like wrestling. You know, he still made it interesting because he mixed up both. So like, he would jump off of things and do certain moves or whatever. So the past few years I've been watching wrestling probably about once a week. I think I would just catch Monday Night Raw. Once in a blue moon I would catch SmackDown on Tuesdays. It used to be Thursdays. I guess they moved it to Tuesdays, which is kind of strange to have it 2 nights in a row. I really cannot watch WWE much. It just annoys the shit out of me at this point. The wrestling feels extremely watered down. The characters are very, very silly usually. The storylines are really dumb. I feel like I'm watching, and I guess they call this the PG generation because it's, you know, for kids more than it is for adults at this point. And it really feels like that. Like, everything is just so goofy and cringy. I kind of feel bad, actually, for kids watching this, because it's just bad. And there's some wrestlers that are really good, that have a lot of talent, that are very strong, and have a lot of eloquence in the way they move, or elegance in the way they move. They're very athletic and agile, and they can do flips. It's very, like, interesting what some of them can do, but a lot of them aren't using their full potential because WWE won't let them. A big person that I really liked a lot, one of my favorite wrestlers, they've really watered down, and that's Shinsuke Nakamura. He is a Japanese guy from New Japan Pro Wrestling, which is my favorite right now, along with Kenny Omega. He's my favorite wrestler right now, who's current. But he left New Japan. He was really, really, you know, popular there. Went to America, became a WWE wrestler. He doesn't speak such great English, but nor do I. And, you know, so his promos aren't that great, but he's trying. But they really watered down his wrestling. He was always kind of a stiff worker. He tended to give these, like, knee shots and, like, hits that, like, would sound really loud and be really hard. You know, like, they would throw a little extra into it. It didn't look like they were stomping on the floor and throwing a punch to make the noise. It was really like they were hitting each other to a degree. But they watered him down so much that he's really just like a shadow of his former self at this point. And it's kind of hard to watch because that was what made him, like, popular. So now it's like he's just only got some of his spirit left, so to speak. What I watch now is just New Japan once a week. I think it records Friday nights at like midnight or 1 in the morning or something. And then Saturday night I'll usually watch it while Beth's in bed. She's even watched wrestling with me, you know, here and there. And she's not a big fan, but she'll like chime in once in a while or whatnot. As I said, Kenny Omega is one of my favorites right now. Another person I like a lot from New Japan is Michael Elgin. He's really surprised me. He's a big, stocky guy, and I've seen him do stuff that impresses me. Strong as hell. He probably is or could be a power lifter. And I even tweeted him the other day, and I said, every person you have a match with, you can, you know, make them look good. Like, every match you're in looks great because of you. You could work with anyone at this point. Like, you're just so great to watch on television. And he was like, thank you so much for the compliments. I thought it was really cool that, I guess because he's popular in Japan, but he's not, you know, The Rock. So he's responding to actual, you know, comments and is appreciative. But yeah, I've got back into wrestling the past few years. I find it to be something I don't have to tune into completely mentally. It's sort of a little mind-numbing in a way. You know, then my friends and I always joke and bicker back and forth about which girl's the prettiest in WWE because the other companies don't really have women. Some of them do. Lucha Underground's really good. They have women, but I don't get that channel because I think that's on Netflix, which I don't have anymore, and I think it's on Optimum, and I have Fios. So they're big in New Jersey. That station. I think it's El Rey Network. I don't have that. So the Lucha Underground's really good. WWE is weird because, well, New Japan doesn't really have stories. It's, I don't like you, you don't like me, let's fight. And the matches are stellar. I mean, almost every match is just like, wow, I can't believe they did this. Lucha Underground, the matches are stellar, but sometimes not as refined, a little more ECW-ish, which I like, you know, with weapons and jumping into the audience and jumping onto tables and stuff and throwing each other through things, which I like. But the stories are way more like comic booky. I remember at one point I was watching it and there was some kind of story about this guy rising back from the dead or some kind of voodoo or something going on. So it's so over the top, it's funny, and has, like I said, like a comic book type atmosphere, which I enjoy. WWE doesn't do the comic atmosphere. It does, like, it's so schlocky that it's bad. It just goes into cringe. As I said, some of my friends and I will bicker back and forth. I seem to have the most unpopular opinion on what woman I find attractive in WWE. My one buddy likes Alexa Bliss. The other one likes, I think, Bayley. The other one likes, what's her name? Emma. I always thought Charlotte was pretty. I know everyone says, oh, she looks just like Ric Flair. She kind of does in a way. I've seen her mother. Her mother looks a lot like her. There's something about her I find attractive. I don't know. I mean, she's a little too muscular for me. But my taste in women has always been a little off-center, I guess you could say. I've never looked at, like, a magazine cover and been like, oh, you know, with some Photoshop, like, perfect shaped woman, you know, and I'm like, oh, it's just never been my thing. I don't know. So, anyhow, yeah, I just, WWE has gotten really cringy, really silly. The storyline the other day, which I didn't watch, I didn't see this, but Bray Wyatt is a really good wrestler. I like his persona. He sort of has like this, people always compare him to The Undertaker, and I guess that's a good point of reference. What he really reminds me of is Robert De Niro's character from Cape Fear. Definitely. He's like a weirdo who's like always rambling and talking about like semi-spiritual verses and, you know, evilness and this and that. Well, throughout his like past few years that he's been wrestling, let's say it's 4 years or 3 years that he's been popular, he's always mentioned Sister Abigail. You don't know if it's an actual person, if it's an entity, if it's a spirit, if it's a physical item like a hairbrush, whatever. They just came out the other day and said, oh, it's him. It's an alter ego, and he's wearing like a black veil, and like, it's just so dumb. I don't know. I don't know anymore. It's like I can't even watch the product and like enjoy the wrestling because some of the goofiness is just so far gone and stupid. They could have just made it some cool woman wrestler and that like she teamed up with him, like a wrestler or a manager or anything. But they didn't. For a while, they said it was going to be Paige because she was supposed to come back. That would have even been interesting, more interesting than what we got. So, what do you guys think of the current wrestling climate in WWE? Do you watch New Japan? That's really the only thing I watch right now. Ring of Honor is really good. I know Ring of Honor and New Japan have cross-promotional stuff, which I really like because you'll see these big-name guys who, you know, go between the two companies. And like there's people like Cody Rhodes, who is Dusty Rhodes' son and Goldust's half-brother. And he's really cool because I wasn't a fan of him in WWE. But now that he's in ROH and New Japan and whatever, he really shines. I feel like they let you really just do what the hell you want. And he doesn't like hold any punches, you know. There's no pulling punches. He's really athletic. He does a lot of cool moves that he wasn't doing in WWE, and he plays a really good like bad guy kind of persona. So I just think it's interesting that all these people kind of break out, and they're like, I've said this before. New Japan feels like the land of misfit toys, that they can take any wrestler and let them break out and become what they want to be, and they're good. As opposed to WWE, who like really stilts these people or stunts these people and makes them really watered down, silly versions of themselves. So let me know, guys, what you watch and what you think about my little commentary here. I don't expect to be doing a lot of videos about wrestling, but I did want to just say a few words. Thanks, guys, for watching. It's Vampire Mike from Sega CD Universe. Be good.